Yo, what is up guys, Eslis Gaming back with another video, and for this week's expedition we are going to do the Royal Rainbow Blop dungeon. Don't forget guys, bring your keys. You have to bring a Royal Blop dungeon key, not the normal Blop dungeon key. Keep that in mind for the expeditions. Now, a little quick disclaimer before I start going over the mobs. On the Pooler Noobs website, it doesn't say that the Greedovore is in this fight, but it is, at least when you're running a loot, so keep that in mind guys. Yeah, let's just start going over the monsters, the boss. In the background you can see me run a loot, and as you can see pretty much very clearly here, there are 5 bosses in this fight, and I can already tell you that each of the bosses will have 20,000 HP when you're running a loot. Now, if you're just running 4 loot, the normal Blop bosses will have 13k health, and the boss will have 20k. When you're running 8 loot, the bosses will have all 20k, but the boss will have 24k. Of course, when you're running 8 loot, you have a lot more damage. And also, when you're running 4 loot, there will be 5 bosses. So even those 4 loot, you will still face 5 enemies. So I think this is going to be one of the few expedition dungeons where running more than 6 loot is actually more beneficial. Because I think even when you're running 5 loot, you're still facing 6 monsters. So starting off with the boss. 20 to 24,000 HP. 100% resistances in all elements. I think, let's... yeah, 100% res. The mechanic is very simple. To remove the resistances in their element, you have to kill the blob in the element. So if you want to remove the air res, you have to kill the cocoa blob. If you want to remove the water res, you have to kill the indigo blob. If you want to remove the fire res, you have to kill the Morello cherry blob. I think no, cocoa blob is the earth res and pippin blob is the air res. I think that's the correct way. The royal blobs. So you will notice on turn 1 you will be taking a lot of damage. As you can see, I am taking a shit ton of damage, as well as being in unhealable state as well. And that is because the royal blobs can hit 2 characters per turn at 1000 damage. And the Royal Rainbow Blob can actually boost 300 power for 2 turns every 3 turns in AoE. So that might be something you have to keep in mind. And just like the regular dungeon, the Royal Blobs can buff the resistances. 100% resistance in their element. So the Morello Cherry Blob is going to buff Fire Res and so on. Therefore, it is highly suggested to not bunch them up. Like, you might think, oh, I want to just tank with the panda and get 4 of them, like, around me. The problem with that is that they can all buff their resistances in an AoE, and you will end up with all of them having 100% res, and you can't kill anyone. Now, I do think that the resistance buff, as well as the power buff, are unbewitchable, so... You might want to take an Entroff with some Unbewitching with you if that's going to be a problem for you. Yeah, for this dungeon, it is highly suggested to play range. Close combat is possible, it is doable, but it is not advised. Like, the damage the blobs do is insane. And running 8 loot, you have the Greedo that does a one-shot as well. So I would highly suggest to get some cross, some ranged characters. Because of the unhealable state, you might want to bring a Masquerader or a Feka as well with you. Now, I'm going to quickly go over the other blobs, as they pretty much are all the same, except for the fact that they hit in different elements. 13k health, unless you're doing 8 loot, and they will have 20k health. They hit 1k, they can hit 2 characters at 6 range. And they will give 100% res in their element. And then you have the Blob Shroom, does air damage, steals 1 MP in a cross as well, but only launches at melee range, inflicts earth damage in a ring around it, and inflicts 500 fire damage. What am I saying? 500 water damage and removes 5 range in the cross, up to 12 range. The tree blob, also he can buff himself MP. Attracts target, so he can attract your team in a cross of 6 3 squares and inflicts 850 fire damage. Twice a turn as well. It can heal his allies and for 10% of the maximum HP. So that means that he can heal like 2k if you're running 8 loot. So keep that in mind. The greeter blob, I don't have picture of that, but that one can one shot in CC. And you might want to focus that one first, especially if you're planning on tanking with the panda. Now, the resistances of the enemies, they have negative resistance in one of the elements, but you need to spread them out, keep them away from each other, keep them at range, make sure they don't buff their own allies' resistances, and just kill them off one by one at range. That's pretty much the strategy. There's nothing special about this dungeon. And then you will be killing the rainbow blob last, most likely. So that's pretty much it for this fight. There's nothing too special more about it that I can share with you guys. So enjoy the rest of the video, and I'll see you guys probably on Friday during the next couple of expedition dungeons. Good luck, take care, and have a great day. Bye bye.